I really enjoy these Batman animated movies. Hello, welcome to Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Khaleel Ward. On this episode, I'll be talking about Batman, The Long Halloween, Part 1. In Part 1, we follow Batman. There's a series of murders. It happens on holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the only evidence they have is a gun. Yes, a gun is left at every crime. Pacifier, looks like, to act as a silencer, and like a theme gift. So for Halloween, it's a pumpkin. For Christmas, it was like a snow globe. Batman is working with Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent, of course, is the DA who eventually becomes Two-Face, but in this, he's Harvey Dent, and he's taking on the mob. He's taking on the crime families in Gotham, and he's putting himself in danger, kind of like in most stories that involve Harvey Dent. He's taking on the mob, and, he doesn't care. But now he has Batman he's helping him out. They're working together. They do a couple of shady things together, and Batman is also getting help from Catwoman, which is interesting because Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle are dating each other, and they both know like their secret identities, which is strange. But it really focuses on Batman not being the detective that he is, because he's always like a step behind. Commissioner Gordon is talking to him, like teaching him how to be a detective in certain instances as they're trying to gather evidence and find out who's committing these crimes, because they have like no leads at all. And whatever lead they eventually get is like always wrong. So Batman mentions to Alfred, like, I'm not a detective. So I don't know exactly how long he's been Batman. He's been Batman long enough where people know who he is and they're kind of afraid of him, but he's not there at the level where he becomes the world's greatest detective. So it's interesting to see that as Commissioner Gordon is talking to him certain ways, and like Batman is like working better as a partner with Gordon and with Dent. I thought the movie, for part 1, it was straight. It got the story going. A lot of different characters show up. You have Calendar Man, who's not a real popular guy, but he shows up in this movie. You have the Joker showing up in this movie. And of course, when he shows up, it gets a little bit more interesting. And, I just thought this was a good setup, and I want to see part 2. It has me interested to see like where the story goes, because they don't really get an answer for who's committing all these different crimes and all the crimes against the mob and the crime families, but everybody's at a loss, like at who's doing it. So I'm ready for part 2. Part 2 comes out in a couple of weeks, so you don't have to wait long. But again, these Batman animated movies are a little different. This is not out of the box like something like Batman versus the Turtles or anything, but it's another cool story, a cool dynamic of Batman, and just like the way he maneuvers around Gotham. He does get into a couple of fights, and they're interesting. He doesn't just wash the floor with the guys he's having fights with. He has to be a little bit creative. Harvey Dent is getting attacked a couple of times by the mob, but nothing crazy has happened yet, and I expect it to be more action in part 2. Part 1 is a lot of talking and setup for what's going to happen in part 2. But I enjoyed it. It's not like the best animated Batman thing I've seen, but it's cool, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be better when you watch part 1 and then part 2 right after. But if you've seen The Long Halloween Part 1, please let me know what you thought. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Deuces.